Ladies and gentlemen, your referee, Mr. Daniel Motherhead, he calls a stop to this contest after 4 minutes and 30 seconds at the very first round, declaring your winner by way of arm triangle. In the blue corner, Keir Harvie.
Hello guys, welcome to this week's Open Mat. We are joined by Keir Harvie, who is fighting in 8 weeks. 8 weeks this weekend.
It's more like 6.
Is it
I think
6?
it's sooner than that, eh?
Losing track of time. He's fighting on Cage Warriors in Glasgow. This is your third Cage Warriors in Glasgow escapade. You're currently unbeaten in Glasgow home soil. Congrats, mate. How you feeling for this?
Yeah, fine. It's just sort of, I mean, you know yourself, it's quite just a lot of repetition, really, isn't it? Fight camp. You get in the routine and you just crack on.
And then obviously making weight, eating well, all this kind of stuff, and it's a long time.
You didn't struggle with the weight thing, though, eh? You've never...
Well, I'm big for my weight, I'm not going to lie, because I campaigned for a few years there at featherweight.
And you just moved down within
and
the
I came back down.
And you went on a bit of a tear, which is obviously paying off, that wake up.
It's just kind of what you need to do. I mean, you've had your go at middleweight, it's just... I felt like as I was getting up the levels, these featherweight boys were big, man, and they were hitting me too hard. That was really it. I was taking too much damage. I couldn't have maintained that. Man, I had 2 fights. I was getting dropped 2 fights in a row. I was like, these guys aren't that. Technically, I'm not like, oh my god, these guys are so much better than me. They were just roughing me up, and I was like, right, forget this, man. I had to kind of reevaluate and got on with Pete Miller with Condition Nutrition. And to be honest with you, it's actually, I'm bigger for the weight class, but you just follow the process. I can't say I've struggled. I'm not killing myself in the bath or whatever. You do the work with the diet, you stay disciplined, and usually the fight week for me is pretty comfortable.
That's where people
don't balloon up, though, eh? That's, you're not like a...
I try not to, man.
You didn't seem to.
I try not to, but I will say is, with the more extreme diet, and I'm sure you felt this too, my body naturally wants to get bigger. I feel like I really need to... Not even, I don't know, it's just because I feel like I'm even getting a wee bit heavier than what I was walking around in between the featherweight fights. So it's like you strip it all the way down and I get lean. By the time I'm at like 66, I am super lean. And then after a couple of weeks, it's right back up. And it's really, I feel like I almost need to be still really counting my calories. But after you've just fought and you're maybe 6 months away from it, you're like, who can be arsed with that? You know what I mean? And it's something I'm working on for sure, just trying to find that happy medium, like not trying to get too big, because I feel like the diet will be easier next time. It'll be less dramatic if I find that sweet spot, maybe like the low 70s, and can just cruise there. So I'm tweaking it.
Have you did like a DEXA scan, all this kind of stuff? I've
not. It'd be something I'd be honest. I've not looked into it, but I know last year I made the weight twice comfortably, so that's
you know yourself, eh?
Aye, I know.
Good, aye.
I'm not going to overcomplicate it. Like I said, like watch my weight a bit in between, and then when I'm in camp, stick to the diet. That's gets it done.
You're obviously reaping the rewards because you're getting victories at this weight class, which is a huge thing.
I feel it, especially like I said, dealing with guys that were featherweights now to bantamweight. Whoa, I've taken hardly any damage those 2 fights. I feel like I'm not getting hit and thinking, whoa, that was a hard shot, and you be careful. Grappling, I feel like I'm getting guys off me easily.
You've been looking good in your last 2 fights.
I can feel the size. And I just feel like there's a lot of things that have kind of came together for me the last... I've kind of done a less traditional... Well, nowadays you would say less traditional. I was just taking big fights, hard fights everywhere, all around the world. Fights that guys nowadays wouldn't do. They would just fight on the regional shows and build up the record. I was the opposite. I was taking fights... 2-3 weeks notice, Bellator, AFC, hard fights. I was like, whatever, man, getting cracked in. And I feel like now that I've got all that experience behind me, now that I've dialed in, and I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm picking and choosing, but you're climbing up more. You know what I mean? I've dialed everything in, sorted things out, and now we're picking our path even more carefully, and that's just going to be wins. Right up.
How far away do you think you are for that Cage Warriors belt?
It's funny.
Two victories in Cage Warriors should be in that. You should be in the sort of realms of people talking about it. Oh, he's making this weight for the title.
Yeah. The problem I see right now is there's a bit of a queue there. So the Italian boys fighting Liam Gittins, and then there's the Asian guy that won the prize fighter tournament, so he's next. And then I don't know, there's this Wesley Murphy. So we recently kind of switched focus. I'm not as fussed about that belt. I want to get into the UFC. I'm not going to wait 18 more months to fight for the Cage Warriors title if I've got the opportunity to, even this year, get into the Contender Series. I'm not... The reason I'd pursue the belt, it would be nice, you know, but it would be to get into the UFC. If I can bypass that and get into the UFC without it, I don't care.
I think Cage Warriors understands that as well. They know that
it's in my contract.
Aye, they are seen as the stepping stone to the UFC. If you win the Cage Warriors belt, you're probably going to the UFC. Yeah. That's how it's seen. But the Contenders opened up a whole nother door to people, hasn't it?
Yeah.
To say, like, look, you can even come on the Contender and come back and have a fight in Cage Warriors. And we've seen, his name's just went right out of my head there.
Is he fighting Duncan?
No, he just, Jordan Valenchuk.
He was the champ, went and fought
Modestas Bukauskas. He was signed to the UFC, got cut, came back to Cage Warriors, won the title, re-signed.
Yeah.
Like, it's a wee...
Mason Jones just done it, came back.
But even better example.
Back in.
So there is I don't want to say it's a partnership, Cage Warriors and the UFC. They're a partnership.
It's literally in my contract.
Aye. So
you're with us for 18 months or until you go to the UFC.
Yeah.
So...
Ideal then, eh?
Cool.
Like it's
It's smart for them just to take that role. You know, there's other shows nowadays that are trying to be like, we're going to compete with the UFC. Unfortunately,
you're not.
Aye, that's 100 years away.
Aye.
So it's good for them just to be like, look,
we know what our level is, and we're going to support
because
guys.
you know it's not a secret. Cage Warriors don't pay as well as other shows out there. I could be getting more money per fight with other shows out there, but what they are offering you is we're going to build you, promote you, and send you to the UFC. So it's investing really in your future. Do you want more money with the UFC or do you want quick money now? And it's a balance for sure, because you can see why younger fighters would want to just get their hands on that money quick, but I chose to just try and invest in myself and build up because I knew I had to. You know, I knew I had to do some building. I wasn't riding a long win streak. I wasn't on like a losing streak per se, but I knew, right, a good 18 months here of me just dialing in and building up, getting wins will get me to where I want to be. So I knew that I would get that with Cage Warriors, and we kind of agreed that.
Do you think this focus came from recently became a father? Do you think that's definitely
100%,
added to it?
100%, because I knew if I was going to be doing this and I was going to be sacrificing so much time away from my family, and even like I'm saying financially, like, you know, people would maybe pull away from MMA and be getting more reliable money coming in. I knew it had to be worth it. And I was always serious about MMA, but you know, it was this thing where you just sort of, like I said, I was taking short notice fights, and when you're younger, you know, when I was 21, I lost. It's not great, but I knew I was like, I'll always bounce back. Once I'm moving into I'm 26 now, I'll be 27 in May. I'm not as young as I was, and it needs to be worth it. It needs to be building towards something, because if it's not, if I'm just fighting for the sake of fighting, then not that I wouldn't, but you know what I'm trying to say.
It just has to be worth the squeeze.
100%. So yeah, that made me reevaluate that.
And you're obviously, like you said earlier on there, you're aware, like, a couple of fights you took some damage you wouldn't have liked to have taken.
Nah.
You prefer not to do that.
Nah,
you prefer not to get.
Nah. You need to be smart, mate.
Aye, do you need this really? Like, even I'm talking to other guys recently, and they're like, "Nah, I'm no sparring unless I'm 12 weeks out for a fight." And these are guys who I think they're young in comparison to us. I'm like, fucking hell, the mindset's completely changing now with younger guys, especially as they progress up the ladder. They are definitely
got to be clever,
being far more intelligent than the old blood and guts routine. You're like, well, you just go and that's just how you train. That's how hard sparring is, like the foundation of winning good fights.
It's got its place. It definitely has its place, but we're fortunate with higher levels across the board. We're all
everyone's
well
looked
behaved.
after.
There's going to be points, you know, you're getting close to a fight. The young guys were competitive, but it's never going to. It's not week in, week out. But yeah, you're a couple of weeks out from a fight. A few rounds like that are good for you to really know you're pushing that pace, and because there's nothing like that, you know yourself, that in the fight, tiredness. Whoa.
And then you get hurt. You have to know, like, I've done this before.
Emulate, you know, even like on your sprints or whatever, that like gut wrenching, I'm knackered and I'm fighting for my life here. You need to try and kind of create that in the gym sometimes. And if you're comfortable there and you're in the end nicking that round, winning that round, and I've just edged that, it does make you feel confident. I'm ready to go here.
Is it easier for you as well with Glasgow. You've walked there a couple of times. Like it's probably feeling quite familiar.
Very familiar, for sure. That's why we were just kind of joking. It's like rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. I'm pretty sure I'm the only guy on these Glasgow cards that actually lives in Glasgow too. So it's literally a 10-minute drive from me over to the venue.
So sleeping in your own bed the night before. Yeah. Everything's cool, eh?
And I like that. You know, it's just like even I made a TikTok of it. Like the first one I fought in April last year, the card had started. I was watching it at home on the couch. I had my wee girl, and then a couple of hours later I was in fighting. Like we were all just chilling, watching it on the telly, and then I just got ready, went over, fought, came right back home, and it was just like,
it's nice though, eh?
It's nice. Aye. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to travel and go these nice different places, but yeah, it's comfortable.
There is that hometown advantage. That's definitely an advantage without travelling. You don't have to worry about being in a plane. You're the like sort of added moisture that you get from flying. So there is definitely an advantage going into Glasgow.
For sure, it's comfortable. Like I said, it has kind of suited me just.
And is it just feeling almost routine now?
I think so. Like me and Sean have joked about that. Like it is just sort of rinse and repeat. We in, we go to the venues, we both win.
Same changing room, same warm up area, same walkout, same faces in the crowd, because it's like same guys all going.
Even like the venue, I always think too, if you fought somewhere before and maybe your opponent has, you're comfortable in that environment. Yeah,
good, mate.
Do you feel like you're getting a push for Cage Warriors? Do you feel like, or you feel like you're just one of their fighters? You're a Cage Warrior fighter.
I'll be honest with you, I do feel like I'm just sort of one of the fighters right now. I had hoped they would have done a bit more with me, especially because they come to these last two shows and they're pushing Bungard and they're pushing Rhys McEwen, heavy pushing them, and Sean, which is right. I think Sean's the one to be pushing, but after we all know ourselves. Chris's two performances have been shocking. Rhys lost, and then even that like softball he got, he didn't look great there. I'm not trying to like start beef, whatever, but we can all see it. They're promoting these guys so much and they're not giving back. Whereas I feel like me and Sean both times are going out and performing. You know, Sean, my problem is maybe I've not had the finishes. Sean's getting big dramatic finishes. Why they're pushing him a bit more, but mine are good fights and they're solid performances. Where it's like
the last two fights have been beautiful.
I know, like I'm smoking these guys. Yeah. Whereas even like Rhys, isn't he? Like Chris, isn't he? So I don't know. I get they're maybe selling a few more tickets, but it should be on. I think if Cage Warriors were really behind me these last two, I would be in a much better position here. Like I almost feel like it should be Sean main event, me co-main event.
Coming off two victories.
100%. You know what I mean? I've got more momentum than those two, and then a lot of the other guys on the cards. Secondly, behind Sean, I would say.
Yep. What do you think it would take for you to get a push? Or what do you feel like it would take?
I don't know, mate. You think usually you just win fights, and I think maybe in my younger days I was a bit more vocal, but Cage Warriors don't really give you opportunity for that. Like they're not letting you on the mic after it. Where do you really speak up with Cage Warriors? I feel like I would play the game a little bit with that if I had the opportunity to.
Speak up here.
I know.
Don't hold back. You're free to say what you want.
Yeah, maybe like if it was like a bigger fight, a bigger name, but you know they're giving these guys to me, and they pretty much say, you know, this is who we'd like you to fight. You know, and you didn't really want to be messing them around too much. And for the most part, it's been a nice. This opponents came out of the blue a little bit. I thought it would have been a bigger name, a more established Cage Warriors guy, but they were like, look, here's a guy we want you to fight. We need to get him a fight. We would love for you just to take this and get you on the card. So we were just like, okay.
Aye, so just the first...
You just get it signed, aye.
This is the first guy you were offered and you went, cool.
100%.
Aye. There was no like, I'd like to...
Talks of maybe being on like one of the London shows, whatever, but they were like, we'd really prefer you just fought this guy in Glasgow and just keep doing your things. We were like, right, okay. Signed it.
What about, is there any names in your division who you're like, I'd love to get a shot at him?
I think you've maybe dipped your toe here.
I feel like, especially because after the September card didn't sell great, they needed to come back here with a bang. I feel like Sean main event, if they'd put me and Rhys in the co-main event, and that's, listen, I had the people in there spoke to me about this fight. I've not just decided
this is the fight I want. There's been conversations.
Because I'm easy.
So I thought that was going to be the fight, eh? Like
I think a lot of us did, because people in Cage Warriors were saying to me, we were maybe thinking about this, especially coming back to Glasgow. So it's not like something I've created. It's been brought to me. There was even talks of it for that Newcastle card at the end of last year, which, again, I don't know how, I guess it makes sense to do it in Glasgow. So I was surprised to have early on just to be given this Greek guy, like, oh, here's your opponent, to do no really any other broader discussions. Sign this and we'll crack on. So
you do like the bit of back and forth, like, I'd like to try this, or they had, that's probably a bad way to word it. If they'd came to you and went, we can do this fight or we can do this fight, which would you prefer? As opposed to, like, we've got this guy and you going, yeah.
So there was a little bit of that, but it was, this is what we would prefer. You know, I'm sure if I said, look, even if I was like, look, I'm just going to stick a fighting in Glasgow, or I want a bigger name, I'm sure we might have sorted that out, but...
If you're a fight fan and you're coming to Glasgow to watch guys, you want a little bit of... you want a story.
For sure.
Like, when we're watching the UFC this weekend, and we're like, who's going to win, Prohaska or Ankalaev? It's exciting. I think that's an interesting fight. You and Reece.
I just think for the region, I mean, there's not a bigger fight for the region. There's no two other Scottish guys that could really match up with each other that makes sense. And I think even where we're at in the division also makes sense. It's not like maybe I've just got there and he's one away from a title fight and it doesn't make sense. Reece has had his wee run, he's had his losses and he's trying to build back up. I'm on my wee run now. A lot of the other guys are kind of booked up. It doesn't make sense. Like I said, there's the title fights are dead, then there's like the next in line guy. It did kind of leave me and Reece sort of floating without, because I think it took him a bit longer to get that Wesley Maya fight. I'm not sure if they maybe looked at other options, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like
it's maybe one for the future.
We'll see. I think you had to strike with iron was hot there. We'll see how he gets on with Maya, but if he drops that one, then I think the fight's gone.
Because you're not interested in it.
I'm not going to be hanging around the Cage Warriors to fight Reece McEwen. You know, why would I? And vice versa, if it was the other way around, he wouldn't be waiting around for me.
Both get good wins, though.
We'll see. Honestly, mate, my plan
seems like you're maybe just done with that then.
My plan right now is to win this fight and get in the Contender Series this year. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not thinking, oh, maybe I'll fight him later.
Maybe I'll get a next fight, 2 fights.
I like that direct.
Like right into
no playing about, man. I would love to be in this year. I don't see why not. I've got some contacts now behind the scenes which will help me get in, which is
half the business.
Exactly. You know yourself.
It's essential.
So see, the big thing I'm training for here and focused on here, I need to finish this guy. I've been getting nice wins, but they're decisions, and that can hold you back. There can be a guy that gets 3 great knockouts over lower level guys, or a guy that gets 3 split decisions over high level, and then it's like, wow, he's knocking people out. We like the look at him, so I need to...
We speak about this often.
I need to finish this guy. I need to knock him out, or something. I need to put this guy away. The
highlight reel, the Instagram finish, we kind of call it. Like, it's real. It's a real 100%.
Thing. 100%. It is. You can't deny it. It's not just...
it's unfortunate,
not just winning nowadays. It is how you win. It's the game.
I've said it for a long time. It's you need to have something about you. You need to have like a bit of performance. It's not just about how good you're at fighting. The best guy doesn't actually get in life. It takes a little bit longer. You need to have
just take longer. Yeah, you see
that charm.
You guys like Bilal Muhammad that need to win 10 fights in a row versus someone with a couple
and nobody would still care about him.
Exactly.
It's mad.
So it is just part of the game. So I think a nice stoppage, good reaction from the crowd, but even, get up on the cage and give me the flag, you know what I mean? I'm here. Take notice, and I think that'll...
I was at the last one as well in the crowd, and it was, like you said there, it was flat. It wasn't...
It was flat.
Was it because the first one was amazing? Because as a fan in there watching it, the crowd were incredible.
Sold out. And it's a big place, mate.
And then with the fans kind of were sold this event, and then it was a bit disappointing. And then the second one comes around, and then guys like Sean are on the undercard, and I don't think they managed it well.
Yeah, I think it was a few. There was a few issues. Yeah. I think they should just.
Were you on the card as well?
I was on both cards. I think they should have waited a year to come back and built the hunger up again. The PFL was the same month. It was in the Hydro. The ticket prices are expensive. So if people were picking and choosing between the PFL or the Cage Warriors, and they just sort of mismanaged. Like, was George Hardwick the main event? Who's that? They've got Sean on
I'd left prelims. Before it. I'm not even going to lie, mate.
I think if Sean had been in the prize fighter, and again, even like, they put so much stock in Reece and Chris. I think even if they had got wins, that would have crescendoed into like this other big show. Like that was a stinker at the end of the first show. Like people weren't happy with that. And then they come right back and the card's not. Folk are like, why am I coming? You know what I mean?
Why am I paying this money?
So which is coming back to where I thought maybe they were going to really stir up this coming back. Let's get
couple of Scottish guys fighting each other, build a bit.
Let's really build the hype for this one again. So we'll see. All the whole card's not out yet, but it's looking better than the September one anyway. Sean main event was a great idea. No brainer, I thought. Great idea.
That was, especially after the last fight. There.
Yeah,
it had to be. He had to be given. He's like, right, how long are we going to keep putting this off? Because I had been saying for a while, maybe we shouldn't. Like Sean's quite a young guy. Like he's a lot of pressure on him. We don't have to. He doesn't need to rush. Like it's going to happen for Sean regardless. He doesn't need to be. And then after that last fight, I was like, fuck it.
There's no point.
Might as well.
Yeah, he's going. Let him go.
And like you were saying there, it's hard to get your moment on the mic. He's done well on the mic when he's been given a chance to talk, and that's hard to get right. Like every wee moment I see film, but like you say, the clips are so short. The chances you get to actually put yourself across are hard. He's done very well.
He speaks well in the moment.
He does
actually, because like if you know him in the gym and that, he's like a funny character. But when he gets, he is good at just delivering these cold little lines, and
he does like, really well.
That was good. That was good.
But like you said earlier, the opportunities to deliver those very small. Like you've got to get it right at the right time and get the clicks to generate the interest, and that's tricky.
I don't know why they don't do the in cage.
For all the time 100%. For all the time it would take somebody to come in.
How much would it add?
Because it's like half an hour later, you're backstage, you're with that, I can't even remember her name.
Yep.
That woman, and you know, you've kind of calmed down all that. I actually missed my last one because I just got changed and nobody came and got me, and I ended up I was
just going home.
I was heading home and I was like, oh, I forgot to even do that because I'm not going to forget what to say in the moment.
Yep.
I've just won. Give me that mic.
And you're emotional. You might say something you wouldn't normally say, and that's really
which is good.
Well, it's what we want. It's what the fan wants. You might have turned around and said, "Reece McEwen, you're not interested." In, that's these moments we're looking for, isn't it? So
because again, like, you're right, because you maybe get that half an hour calm down. You're like, I'll just try and behave myself a bit here. I'll talk all professional. Whereas I kind of like it when folk grab the mic and then just you see that emotion. People get behind that. People like that.
Mate, we all have a bit of a bam, eh?
For sure.
It's part of this nation's
part
culture.
It's part
Absolutely part of the show.
You've got all your fans there, you know what I mean? It's all kind of, it's like the cherry on top that they're kind of, honestly, I don't know why they
demand
don't know
this
if they
one,
took it away or, strange.
Do you think about that? Are you like thinking about after the fight, if I got a chance on the mic, I'm going to say this, or are you just?
I might have rough ideas, but I don't put too much stock into it. No, there's the big job at hand.
You stay focused on that.
I'll never think about, I'll do this celebration, whatever. I'm just
in the moment.
It's hard to think about as well.
Nah, for sure.
Got to stay focused on
those kind of things will get you in trouble. I think just
your mind being in too many places. Eh?
Even like I'm talking about, I'm hoping to get into contender series like that. All that goes through. I win here, so you know, it's nice to have a rough plan, but
I don't see that as like looking through your opponent.
Nah.
I just see that as like a logical, like you said, it's in the contract. It's a logical next step. So I win here, and next will be this.
Yeah,
it's that.
I'm not trying to retire.
You're not being like I'm going to run through this guy and then I'm going straight to the contender and whoever they give me there. That's not what you're doing. You're being methodical. Eh?
Yeah.
You're no being arrogant.
Yeah,
it's realistic.
I think.
So, what brought you to this sport?
What brought me to this sport?
Was Headhunters your first gym you went to?
Headhunters was my first gym, so the first ever kind of
what a place.
Cross in here, it was
dank and dingy and old Leaf Market. Oh no, you were the Falkirk one.
I was in the Falkirk one. I've never even seen that other gym in Edinburgh, funnily enough, in the tunnels. So I had a friend that done judo, and in like a spare room they had like a matted out room, so we used to just go in there and like put on MMA gloves and like spar each other basically, and like fuck about. I didn't even know what the UFC was at that point.
What age were you?
Probably like 13, 14. We were starting to work out as well, and then somebody clicked in the Falkirk Town Centre that there was a gym, and that was the Headhunters branch in Falkirk. And we were like, yes, we're all going to go to this. Big crew of us all went, and we would go once a week, and we'd all get stuck in about it. And then just as time went on, that group withered down. I started going twice a week, 3 times a week, and just really took to it.
So am I right in saying you met Mark Ewan there, and then you became friends rather than you were friends?
Yes, I knew of Mark. just being from like the same place. But even at that, like he done Thai first. So even like when we were training, we were just sort of like, you know, we were cool with each other, but we weren't friends. So that wasn't until like another few years that we actually became friends, when he really moved over to MMA, and you know, we just sort of, he fell away from some of his kind of high school friends, so did I, and we just sort of formed this wee group with a couple of other boys, and yep, that's us.
And then from that, then when did you realise it was like, right, I can actually I can do this as a job, there's a career in this for me? Because I imagine having parents, I'm a parent myself, and if my kid comes in and said, listen Dad, I'd be like, away you go.
So I think really, I trained for a couple of years, and then once I started competing, I hit the ground running. Like I have not stopped competing for like more than like 6-9 months. So by the time I was 18 and leaving school, I'd already racked up like 10 fights. We
were speaking about this in the change room yesterday.
Yeah.
One of the young guys was saying, I was 18 and I'm 18 and I've had these many fights, and you were like, you're on a good path, because as you were 18, you had the same number of
like
fights.
4 times a year sometimes, like, and you would lose, and we were just like, whatever. You know, it was just like, oh, you're going to fight again we were never really too high or too low. We were just always training. I was probably training like 3 nights a week, then just
having a fight.
Fighting. I won that one class. I lost that one, oh well.
What was your weekends like? Were you still, at that age, were you still training and still going out with the old pals and drinking? No.
That's why I fell away from the fight, because I was almost a wee bit too dialed in when I was young. When you're supposed to, especially after a fight, you can enjoy yourself. Like, I was just...
I get it.
Yep. Training. Only once I got a little bit older, I realised, right, you need to enjoy... Something like you go to a wedding or whatever, you need to enjoy some nice life events. But yeah, I was just racking the fights up. Left school, didn't really know what to do, as a lot of us do. Like, and I done well in school. I would have had options, but yeah, just kept training, and I was fighting, and then you start hustling from there. I was competing, ended up turning pro only a couple of years later. I was 20, I had my first pro fight.
It's wild.
And then that's it, just stuck at it. You make it work.
And then obviously now it's at the point where you've got a family, and now it is, you need to make it work.
For sure.
Because you need to have bills paid, you obviously want to provide for your kid, you want them to have the best life that you can possibly give them. Yeah,
so I've done well, like, I've got like a kind of foundation, like I'm not struggling for money month to month, like panicking, whatever, so I'm comfortable in that aspect, so I can focus on the training, you know, that's not pulling me back in any way, so I've got this nice balance now where it's all working well, so once more money starts coming through MMA, that's just going to be...
Make life so much easier, isn't it?
It will.
And you currently PT at higher level?
I do. So that's just wee things you need to figure out, man. Like, quite quickly realise, you know, if you're just running out of money left, right and centre, it's taking you away from training. Like,
it's a fucking problem quick as well.
Petrol money to put money in my car, like, and I always kind of wanted to, like, you know, family could have helped me, but I'm stubborn in that fact. I wanted to be able to do it myself. I wanted to be able to manage myself. So, you know, I've had wee jobs here, PTs, just being clever with my money as well. You know, if I get a couple grand out of a fight, then just be smart with it, and that's really it.
Have you got a bit of a supportive family or not so?
I do. The family's all on board now.
Now? Was there a point where like...
Of course. It's tough at first, you know, and a lot of people don't even really understand what it is, but I think that you just see I'm doing well. You know, I think the thing too is, like, I kind of pride myself on this, in fact. I've never been knocked out or submitted. So I think early on, if you have one of these moments where you get like flatlined, your parents would be like, you're done with that. Do you know what I mean? I think they could always see, even when I was losing, he can handle himself. You know, I'm not...
It's funny you say it. I wonder if I'd feel that way if it was my son. Like, if I saw him get dropped out cold, I'd be like, I'm going to stop doing this again.
Honestly, I probably would too, but if I could see, this wee guy, he's fighting back, he's in there, man. He's no folding. I think they always seen that. Whether it was a win, a loss, or a draw, I was always... in it, man.
You've had a couple of draws, eh?
Don't start.
I remember watching one where you, and I remember they announced it as a draw, and the other boy was fucking mortified. He's like, yeah, I can't a draw. As if he's got a good... Was that Finland?
2 draws back to back.
That's right.
Who has that?
Jimmy Crute.
And it's just, both were just me being the away fighter.
Aye, for sure.
And it's like...
I watched that fight.
And people tend to think, oh, it was a close fight, that's fair. I'm like, no. What's the maths? What was the scorecards? You can't just go, that was close draw. That's not how the scoring works. And you're right, the one in Finland, the guy told me, we all thought you won that, mate. Everyone was just like, mate, let's be honest.
I mind watching that. That was wild. That doesn't seem like that long ago.
It wasn't. Oh, that was was less than 2 years ago.
Was it really?
Yeah, I took that fight on 1 week's notice.
And went to Finland.
Went to Finland and fought. I was struggling to get a fight, couldn't get anything. They reached out to me. I went in, I sparred in the cage with Lorenzo the Friday night, and the next morning I signed the contract, and I went a few days later and just went out and essentially beat that guy off the couch. And they took it from me.
Was that quite gutting to be... all those factors, like you took the fight on very short notice.
Made the weight.
Everything was already
fucking
against you, and then you like have it stolen.
I know, like, come on.
It's fighting though, eh? Because
that was also one, like, that was the first fight I got. He dropped me in the first round, dropped me a peach, and it's just right-handed, like, boom, put me down. And yeah, that's when I was starting to realise, like, man, these were hard fights, and even, you know, it's a hard fight, I'm not even getting the decision in the end. It's like, that's when I was sort of like, fuck this, man. Like,
quite sickening, actually, eh?
Yeah, taking just him hitting me harder than I'm able to hit him, and me doing nice technical, and him just sort of scrambling and muscling out, and you're like, oh, I couldn't have done that against you, do you know what I mean? So that was one of those fights where I was like, right, technically wise, I'm right there, but I beat him, but if he was the same size as me, I would have smoked him. You know what I mean? I would have won that clearly, so...
I thought you won it clearly. It wasn't. It was mad though. It went. Fuck. But these are the hurdles, eh?
Yeah.
These are the.
You seem to be like really happy with where you are in life at the moment. Like just listening to you, the way you're talking. Like surely that, like your parents must be pretty. Your family must see that and be like, you know what? Like he's not doing a conventional job, but you know what? He wakes up on Monday and he's happy.
Yeah, for sure made it work. And my daughter's getting older now, and we're comfortable. Everyone's. Yeah, it's all good to plan.
It's so much better working for yourself than working for someone else, isn't it?
For sure. And it's by design. Like, you know, I've crafted this path for myself, and you need to. You know, like the family stuff, God, happened quick on the side, but it all just becomes part of the process, and that elevates. You know, that's made me more mature. That's made me grow up, and these will add to your MMA career as well. If you're, you know, like a functional adult, and you're comfortable in life and you can handle these problems, these things cross over more than you'd maybe realise, and all it just kind of builds up together.
And one of the things you were speaking about there was EFC. You'd said about getting the chance to fight in EFC.
I fought in the EFC, yeah. God, that was a crazy one as well, man.
And go for the whole event, because getting to go to South Africa,
so great experience,
and they kind of look after you very well. Am I right in saying that?
Probably the first time, that first fight there, where I felt like a true professional athlete, like getting treated like such, flown out there, everything about it was just, there's no at home stuff. For as nice as it is, like being in Glasgow, it's also nice to just be away from all that, and you're so focused. As
we talk about that all the time.
I'm fighting this week, and it's all geared around that, and so they were great experiences. The problem with the EFC was Johannesburg is very high elevation, so it's like 1,800 metres above sea level. So to put Ben Nevis is the highest point in Scotland, that's 1,400 metres, I believe. So I'm fighting on a cage all the way up in the sky, and I couldn't believe how much of a disadvantage it was. It was unbelievable, mate.
Did you feel it?
100%. I wish everyone could feel that at least once.
Did you feel it when you got off the plane? Because I've fought in Mexico City.
I didn't. No, it was just honest after round one. Why am I the most tired I've ever been in my entire life right now? And there's not even a super high pace, like, and it was like brain fog. How many times I'm on the back and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just sort of like, you're in a daze almost, and I'm in a cage fight.
It's lack of oxygen, isn't it?
100%. And again, that was big time. Like, they've really favoured the African guys there. Like, you had to dominate a round in order to win it.
They had a few mad ones. I remember when Danny fought on it and stuff like that as well.
You had to finish them.
Right,
but again, it's
put them down.
I know, but it's tough, man. I just go finish that guy. Like, you know what I mean? Nice sound, man.
But same again, cool experience.
African, very athletic, jacked guy. You're like, oh, just go finish him. Like, oh, sound, no worries. Like,
and elevation as well.
Oh,
that they live at. You don't,
because you need to live there for you need to be in it for 2 or 3 months to fully acclimate. But again,
it's part of the journey.
But you well, again, I was going to say you knew what you were getting into, but that's easy for us to say sitting here on a couch in Scotland. When you actually have to go there and fight, that's not the same.
Well, I went back for the second and the third one, so I knew what I was getting into.
Again, by then, of course,
making it hard for myself there, but that experience now is doing well for me. You know, again, other guys would have been like, I'm not going back there. I'm just going to fight in a cushy show in the UK and get another easy win. So I'm glad I put myself in these hard spots when I was younger, when I had time to do it. Because now I feel like there's nothing that really fazed me. I'm getting tired in a fight. Well, it's not going to be as hard as that. I'm getting dropped in a fight. Oh, it's not going to be as hard as when that guy hit me. You know what I mean? Or it's not going to be as big. Fought in the Accor Arena for Bellator. So next time I'm in a big arena, well, I've done this before, you know what I mean? I've got the whole French crowd want me to die here, and I didn't. So
was that one of your favourite moments in your career? Was walking out in the Accor Arena? No.
I don't know. I just sort of.
Do you have a moment where you're like, this is my moment
in my career? So a big one for me, I think, was the first time I fought for Cage Warriors. So I lost a fight. I lost a guy, Malada Hadi, who's a good fighter. Just took me down, wrestled me, another one in the wrong weight class. But I bounced back, relatively short notice, during the lockdowns. So a kind of tough time for everyone. And I got this quite short notice fight against Manny Akpan. And he was a weapon at the time. He was undefeated. He was knocking guys. He's the one that was like spin kicking people and knocking them brutally out. And it was all just for him to get a fight and get a win. Like, they didn't even want to take my pictures. Honestly, I was so clearly just the guy to come in and lose. And I went in that fight and I choked him unconscious in the first round. And that was really my kind of, people took notice. I was like, I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to ever be someone to come in and roll over. And I think that surprised a lot of people. It was a mad back and forth. And then I choked him. I put him to sleep. And it was like, I'm here to be a player in this scene, you know what I mean? Like, especially coming off. I think that even really to myself was like, wow, I can actually do this. You know, with a lot stacked up against me, I've showed up and put him away. I feel like I can do that on my night. I can do that to anyone. So that really made me believe in myself a lot more, to be honest with you, you know. So for sure,
a vicious finish is always good for the soul, I think. When you actually do,
choked the life out of him, man.
Because you remind yourself, like, I've been training to do this, and I will do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's important to have that in you. You have to have that element. Like, you're a nice, well-spoken guy, but also you will fucking choke you out cold, eh?
Aye. I'm screaming, I've got the blood all down.
But again, that's like you were saying earlier. Right after the fight, these like. High, you're flying.
Oh my God, if you'd given me the mic then, I would have shut up.
Watch what I say now. That's what we want, though, isn't it? That's
sure.
it. So
that always sticks out to me. It's like one of the biggest moments.
We need to get that one up.
What about moving forward as coming for being a teen in this sport and developing yourself and developing your mind? What's it like now? What's your mindset like now? Do you work with people? Is there something that you do to kind of enhance your focus?
Honestly, no. It's just, again, I just feel like my experience that I've got behind me is, I wouldn't not try something like that, but I just don't feel like I need to. Maybe I'll add it in later on, but I just feel like I've been around the block a few times. I do my training camp. I feel good. I've done all this before. I know what I need to do, and that's enough for me. I stay calm. I go in and do my thing. I can trust myself when I get in there. I know I'll do my best. I know I can find a way to win, or if I can die trying. So, and I know I've got that in me. So, yeah, experience is my biggest advantage right now, I think. All being on all these big shows, yeah. Even going into this next fight, I think the biggest advantage I've got over this wee guy is my experience. We have a similar amount of fights, but he's just been fighting. I mean, he's Greek. He's been fighting regional shows in Greece, which is not a top European country for it. I've got so much more experience, and I think just where I'm at in my career right now too. Like, good luck, man. I'm a hard fight right now for a wee guy like this. Just getting his first step into European level against me right now. It's
a bad night in office.
I think so.
Do you do what's your recovery strategy? How do you keep going, push as hard as you push in the gym and just keep going? What's your recovery strategy?
So actually, funnily enough, this camp, so far I've added a new thing. I'm getting into the hyperbaric chamber once a week. And I'm actually doing it later on today. And I have noticed that. Honestly, it just seems to feel like...
That's reducing the oxygen that's in the air?
It's flooding you with oxygen. So you get in this pod and it's flooding your body with oxygen, which just aids blood flow, reduces inflammation. So, and I have started to notice that, and it's only going to get more. You need to be doing weeks and weeks and weeks of it, but I feel like I'm maybe sore on like a Monday night, and I wake up to Tuesday. It's maybe by the afternoon, I'll be like, oh, do you know what?
Feel good.
I forgot that was even sore.
Where is it you're doing this?
Sports Therapy Scotland.
Are they a sponsor?
They are a sponsor, yeah. They're in the West End of Glasgow. they took me on towards the kind of tail end of last year. So I've got kind of therapy, like they'll give me the massages and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I feel like I'm not even really. I tried to do that once every couple of weeks, especially in camp. I've not even felt like I've needed it so far. I'm just getting in this chamber once a week, and it's just been clever too. It's knowing when to, when that's sore to work around it, knowing when, not that you're not going to push hard. Just finding that balance between, like, you can't be bursting your arse 7 days a week, staying on top of your nutrition. A big thing for me is the right times to eat, making sure you're fueled at the right times, like getting that in. I used to never eat before my morning training. I feel like I would wake up, maybe have coffee. I feel like I didn't need to eat. But now my plans have me like, I'll have like a lot of porridge in the morning. It'll be really carved up, fueled up, and like, surprise, you feel better for it. You feel like you've got more fuel. So, yeah, nutrition on point, listening to your body, and this chamber for sure. I'm feeling like it's helping.
I used to be terrible for feeling sick in the morning. See, if I ate then trained, I always felt like I was going to be sick, like all the time.
Heavy belly.
Aye, just like, exactly like that, as if just like, I've got too much, or I've ate too much, or even drinking coffee in the mornings before training, I'm like, I'm going to fucking throw this up. I don't know why, it's just always a thing I've had. Even now, still, like the day sitting on the bike, just cycling on an exercise bike, I was like, I'm going to throw up.
Everyone's different, I guess.
Aye, it's just, but like you say, you've worked out for yourself what you need. It's specific to you. You're tailoring your training to you.
For sure.
Damage limitation for yourself. Like, it's maybe not going to work for, or there's plenty of people who are going to sit in the same chair and go like, no, this is what I do. Cool, mate. Like, you seem quite, your mind's made up. You know what works for you, you know what doesn't work for you, and this is what you're doing, and this is the path you're sticking to.
It's not broke, don't fix it, mate.
Exactly. It's a very good strategy, I think.
Do you have a conditioning coach you work with?
So I've got a strength and conditioning coach, Harvie, and it's actually more like a boxing based gym. It's called We Don't Play, WDP in Glasgow. He works with like pro boxers, so I'm his first
MMA.
Professional MMA guy, but he knows, it's Adam, right? Your guy, and he's done a lot of like training under the boxing science guys, like they run like courses and whatnot. And it was Adam that put me onto him, because they spoke to each other at some of these courses. So again, boxing science, man, they're the guys. Like, it's funny how many influence like the coaches they've influenced. But yeah, I needed a new coach. Adam had suggested him, and Lord and behold, he was 5 minutes from my house. And that was a big thing. I was already doing a lot of travelling to a higher level. So it's like, I need my strength conditioning coach in Glasgow. So it would just be easier to get to, and he was literally 5 minutes away, and we just clicked right away. And again, that's my last 2 camps. I've also been with him, and that's shown too.
Do you feel a difference in your physicality? For
sure. And it is like, it's supplementing your martial arts training that, so I do twice a week. I'm comfortable with that. You're not trying to be a power lifter, or you're not trying to do high drops or anything. You're just, especially my last camp, we knew there was going to be a lot of grappling, a lot of kind of squeezing, so a lot of it was based around that, like lactic threshold, trying to burn my arms out, burn my legs out, and then hitting hitting the conditioning, like you do like the medicine ball squeezes, all that kind of part, grip squeezing. We wanted to feel that fatigue in the muscles and still be able to push through, and I did for 3, and it's why I beat him really. I was able to push harder than him every grappling exchange, and I won it. So we can dial the counts to roughly kind of what we think the fight's going to be, and these extra wee percents.
It's very small percentages.
Again, even just little things like that. If my grip's got a wee bit more in yours in the third round, then I'm able to stay on top and squeeze these things will win you fights, man.
For sure. Once you are sweating, sliding, bit of blood about, like, how slippy, you stand on a bit of blood on the canvas and you'll fucking fall over. So what do you see for this next fight?
I just don't think this guy's as skilled as me anywhere, and I can't really see
what's his background. Where would you, if you were watching him, what would...
I think he leans a wee bit more to like the jiu-jitsu, but from what I've seen, doesn't even really seem to have super strong wrestling. Like, I knew my last fight against Rory Evans, pretty good wrestling, good grappler. I mean, a Richard Shore black belt, so he was going to be decent. So I knew he was going to be spamming the red. This guy doesn't even really seem to shoot a whole lot of takedowns. I don't know. Could be famous last words, and I'm in a pure hard fight. We'll see. I just can't. And I'm dead honest with myself. I'm fighting, if I'm fighting a tall, long southpaw, I know, right, this will be tricky for me. But it's a guy a bit younger than me, less tested, similar kind of build. Doesn't seem to be super explosive. doesn't seem to. Not got loads of finishes. There's nothing I can see. I need to be careful of that. So I'm just focusing on myself here. I'm gonna go in and just do my thing. If he wants to push more grappling, we'll grapple. If he wants to try and push more striking, I think I'll light him up in the striking. So he probably is going to push more grappling. But we'll see. I think this is
force him to make mistakes and punish him for it, basically.
I think, honestly, I almost feel like this is a bit of a tee up from Cage Warriors here. Like, this is a good wee opportunity for you to get this kind of nice finish you've been missing. I almost feel like there's been some thinking behind that. So really, you know what I mean?
So you feel there's a good opportunity for you to get the stoppage you're looking for?
For sure. Because there could have been way harder. Like, if I'd gotten like a Wesley Mai or whatever, I'm still confident I could put him away, but there's a lot more things to be, a lot more variables to that. Powerful on the feet, very good jiu-jitsu. I'd be a lot more tactical in how I'd be going about this, whereas this guy, I just feel like, if I feel like I'm confident that I'm better than you everywhere, I'm not stressing. You know
and the finish will come on its own then, won't it?
It will.
Yeah. That's good. A good way to look at it. Sensible, which is how you've kind of come across this whole conversation.
Well, again, like I said, I doubt it, but you know, if it ends up being a 3-round hard fight, I can do that all day long. We'll do that. If that's how I need to win this fight, by the skin of my teeth, then fine. I've done it before. I'm sure I'll do it again, but don't see that for this one.
What was when you moved to higher level? How do you feel your development progressed? Because obviously, Alex Snedden, Headhunters is a great gym, really great striking gym.
It was, you know, what I had, you know, Danny Henry came up through the Ian Feenan, they had a kind of boom, which was dying down just as I got in. And then me and Mark, there was another boy actually, Hayden, funnily enough, he's kind of forgotten about now. But
I remember him.
We were kind of like this young crew, and we built a lot of it up. So there was a while there where we had like an active amateur team, we were all doing well. All
together as a team and helping each other.
Yeah, and then once that kind of died off, we were like, there's not much left for us to do here.
Is that gym's not there in
I think the building's still there, it's rebranded, I'm not sure. It's more fitness now versus, which is where it was going. And this is as me and Mark are edging towards pro. And my gym's edging towards being a fitness gym. So it wasn't even like, if they'd maintained the level, we would have stayed there. Maybe a bit longer anyway, but it just sort of was like, this was going down, we're going up. And the natural choice was to go to higher level. And honestly, we kind of thought almost James kind of knew that in a sense. He had started kind of communicating with us a little bit more, and even just silly things like started following us on Instagram and that. We're like, does he maybe think we were going to be over there soon? And then, you know, once we were in the door, that's us. That was years ago now, man. That was like 6 years ago.
It's wild to think that's how long
I've been at almost a higher level. I think as long at higher level now really as I was ever at Headhunters, so yeah.
Crazy. It's a great gym. It's a very good gym, but there is very good gyms within Scotland, and some of them get overlooked. Definitely Headhunters I was coming up as one of the top striking gyms. I don't think they had an amazing jiu-jitsu coach at the time.
We had different guys come and go. Roddy Campbell had a good wee stint for a while.
Got a couple of wins as well, actually.
Yeah.
Did doors in Edinburgh. I remember when he worked at Le Monde.
Who was it? What was his name?
The wee guy.
No, was it he had like a weird name? No, it wasn't Rory. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
There was loads of coaches that came through there. Alex was the staple, but he was, to be fair to him, would always actively try and bring the next guy in. And these wee guys would all give you nice wee tidbits that would add to your game. Even Barry Thompson, for a while, was like a kind of a mentor to us. You just take all these wee things, and I'm grateful for all these. You realise he's looking back, all these wee things that guys, Headhunters really gave us a solid mentality of just like, we'll fight anyone, we're happy to fight, we weren't selective, we were just like, we train hard and we will fight anyone, you know what I mean? If he's the number one guy, we'll have a crack at you. Mentality wise, Headhunters benefited us in that. Just like, don't overthink it, just go have a fight, try your best.
There's no point either looking back and going, the time I wasted at that gym. I think a lot of people can be guilty of that when they change gyms. They go, if only I'd found higher level first. Imagine where I'd be now. But you can't, because you didn't.
Mate, it was walking distance from my house.
Exactly.
How else was I getting to higher level?
And you were what, 13 or 14 or something?
When I started, yeah.
Aye, so
I didn't even know what higher level was.
You didn't know what MMA was.
So I moved. I had the one pro fight and then moved over. So really early on in my pro career, I think was a good time to go.
But you got to sort of cut your teeth amateur regional fights all over
I was
the
an experienced
place.
fighter at that point. So it was really just about how do I fix these wee holes and how do I start really skill developing and then just experience building from that point. So it worked out it was meant to.
I had sparred a few times at higher level. I keep saying
Headhunters.
Headhunters.
Darnhausen.
Absolutely smashed my nose. That's how. Were you in that evening?
I don't.
He grabbed the top.
No, I didn't see.
He grabbed the top of the glove and just come right over with an elbow. Buff. Shattered my nose. That's why my nose is as bad as it is.
He is honestly a waste of talent.
He is.
A shame.
So big, so
I still
powerful.
see him fairly, now and then. I mean, he's only like 30 as well.
Is that all he weighs?
He's young.
Did he blow his bicep out?
It was injuries and it was mentality as well, I think, a little bit. Honestly, man, with the right head on his shoulders and the
He could have been something.
the right coach, he's done a lot.
So is he that day he broke my nose? Alex then he'd come over and reset it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just grabs it and starts hauling it. Blood's just spewing everywhere.
It's that
man.
living in Thailand.
It's
fucking
fine,
thing will
man.
do that to you.
Alex
You look
said
good,
it,
eh?
Honestly, man, you could do a whole podcast just talking about Alex.
I've seen him sometimes still.
Hilarious.
Cutting
Still
about
see him?
it.
I've not seen him. I've not seen him
What
in
a
years.
character. I've not seen him in years, actually. And I would think it would be, he wasn't happy when me and Mark left. I know him and Mark have crossed paths a couple of times.
But then
I've
you've
never
got to
seen
see it from
him.
his point of view as well. He's helped.
I understand, but he needs to see our point of view
exactly.
too. It's like a women's fitness gym.
Yep.
And I'm trying to be a professional MMA fighter. Come on, man. But I understand.
The one we see is loyalty works both ways, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, you're loyal to him, he needs to be loyal to you and be like, listen, guys, I can't actually take you to this next level. And as a coach, that must be a really hard thing to say.
And I think it's not worth
But
burning
coaching.
bridges over either, because we still could have been, I don't know, helping in there or doing some PTs out there. It still could have been a nice relationship. I get it too, honestly. If I'd built a young fighter up against pro and boost, I'm sure I would feel a certain way about it too, but
I think it comes with the territory. Eh?
had to be done, mate.
If you're if you're a coach, you're going to know that, surely.
But there's a reason why you stay in Glasgow and travel to Bathgate every day.
100%.
Like, how long does that take you? Like 40 minutes?
Like 40 minutes. And the grip house is on my doorstep. I know the grip house isn't as good.
But then, like, it blows my mind when you've got guys like Chrissy Shaw, the same thing, stays in Glasgow. You've got Sean Clancy that stays in Paisley.
Boys,
Aye.
it's far. Even like folk from the West Coast, folk come from Ayrshire.
I know.
It's far and on,
Well,
man.
that's Gemma Olds. She travels for
fucking-
Kilmarnock every night to train at higher level.
I
So
was
they're obviously doing
staying
something.
in Prestwick over Christmas there because we moved out of our flat, moved into another one. And I was an hour and 15 minutes to training from there. And that's not far from where they are. You're talking an hour easy to training there and back. Like, that wears you
the
down.
traffic's good.
That wears you down as well, mate. That's why I was saying about my strength and conditioning. I needed that to mean, because I was like, I'm sick of driving.
Who was it we
45
were
minutes
talking-
somewhere else.
Was it Gemma we were talking to? Like, it could probably you're driving home at night in the car, fucked, got to sit in the car for an hour and
Shite,
a half, get home, got to get your stuff, because she's still working.
Yeah.
Got to get your stuff ready for work in the morning, got to have your food,
Cook
got
a
to
meal, right to bed.
Got to do what you've got to do, and
Aye,
then it's
man.
bedtime, and you're going to get up tomorrow, you're sore, it's fucking pouring with rain this morning. Like, it doesn't take long for that to start grind you
100%.
down and become disheartening.
For sure.
But then all it takes is that one fight to get you
Yeah.
to the UFC
That's it.
and to be walking out in your UFC kit in front of all these people.
That one
and
Keir
change your
Harvie
life.
on the mic when he just right after the fight and just lets rip.
Well, it's funny because I've actually spoke to a couple of people about that recently because, like I said, I started fighting when I was 16. I'm now 26, so I've had 10 years of active competition. A couple of years training before that, and people say to me like, "Oh, you're starting to feel it a bit in your body now." I'm like, "No, actually, my body feels fine, but you feel it more mentally once you're 10 years deep into it. You have so many highs and lows. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can do it. Oh, maybe I win, a loss. Like, it becomes more of a mental wrestle. Even maybe not so much now, but yeah, no, oh shit, is this the right thing? Am I still doing this? Should I still be doing this as my family? You know what I mean? That more so. Not good. I'm lucky. I've been relatively injury free for a couple of years, other than like silly wee niggles. But mentally, yeah. I mean, an injury you heal, you can get over it, but if your heart's out of it, that's when you're done, really, isn't it?
Aye.
I mean,
question-
yes, your body can break, but if your heart breaks first, then you're out of the game for sure.
The question is, what would you be doing if you weren't doing this? What would your job be? You'd be
I don't
working
know.
It would
Monday
be
9 to
nothing
5.
good.
Aye.
Yeah.
So, like, waking up.
I don't regret it.
happy.
I'm just saying that is part of the game that isn't talked about as much. People, oh, my knee went, my thing went. Sometimes the harder battles are in your head. A bad loss or just not getting the right opportunities. Why is he getting that and I'm not? It's easy for guys to just be like, fuck this, man. I'm putting a lot into this and not getting a whole lot back. So.
And your missus is in the house moaning. Why are you every night? Where's the fucking money? Like,
honestly,
such
man,
and such's boyfriend has just took them to, well, fucking...
your partner can also kind of make or break you in this.
100%.
You've got a good partner that's...
supports you.
My girlfriend fully supports me. She even helps me with like getting my banners made up, thinking of sponsors, my social media. Helps with my daughter when she'll do anything I need her to do. Whereas like if you've got someone that's not really with it and is pulling, then fuck, that could make or break you, that, mate.
I watched a video with Justin Gaethje talking about it just the other day. He was like, I'm not looking to have a woman in my life, he said, because I'm not putting her through this.
Yeah.
He's like, what woman would tolerate this?
Yeah.
He's like, what's worked for me up until now is just me being on my own. He's like, I don't need to bring another person into this and complicate it. So like you say, you don't know, how would that have went if 10 years ago he'd met a lassie and she obviously didn't want him out there getting his heat clubbed in? It wouldn't go the same way. So there is a lot of other factors. Like you say, you've got to have a stable home life, and it sounds like you've got everything.
I think, yeah, there are people that are quite negative to it, like folk will joke like, oh, he's in the pussy trap, like he's pulled away from the gym and that. But the other side of the coin is a good partner will push you on, man. Will push you on for sure. Help you where you need
help with the meal prep.
100%.
Have you baths made for you, just looking after you?
Yeah.
Where'd you get a wife that does this, like? I'm all joking.
So listen, I know you're obviously going away to do your oxygen hyperbaric chamber. Is there any other sponsors you've got you want to get a shout out?
So the team, let me think. I've got Patrick's in Camelin, which is a butcher. Man, they are so good to me, and they've been with me for years now. That's a huge help. There's Sports Therapy Glasgow, helping with the body. I just re-upped with bounty competitions for this camp. I've got Pulp, which is a really nice kind of brunch place in Glasgow. The West End of Glasgow, you should try it, it's delicious.
I'll check that out. Clothing brand have you got? Tatami. Was thrilled to get Tatami, man. Wasn't one cool. I thought I might have got. Just shot my shot and they were really behind me. Great guys, they've given me a lot of good stuff. There's Mason Sea Gym, they also sponsor me.
I bring it up, mate. It's alright.
You hate to miss anyone.
No, you do.
I do. Bring your phone.
I've only got a couple more. I kind of like having like a...
Like these are all things that help.
Smaller, tighter team. Got like, Cut 17, who's Barber. My friend Lewis is sponsors me. I've got Conahan Plumbing and Heating, and I've got Energy Prices Direct. There's the wee squad right now. As
and the same as we'll always do, we'll fire the links in there.
And these guys help. These guys help a lot.
I massively.
People didn't realise, for sure.
That's what even recently we didn't realise. Even we were like, fucking hell. It was Jem Alls when she said, like, if I could do this, then I could take a day off work. And that's when I was like, fuck me. Like, I'd never.
Yeah.
And I know what goes into it. And it's still, I hadn't moved all the pieces together like that. So again, the sponsors are essential.
You need to be clever with that. A lot of guys, that come up now, man. You need to go out and get them. A lot of people think
absolutely
they're going to fall in your lap. You need to go out and hustle, man. You need to ask 100 people and get 5 back.
Shot my shot with Tatami and they've been brilliant.
Got it. Yep.
Aye.
Therefore.
Good, man. I'm glad. And if you're looking for tickets, you've got a ticket link and it'll be on your Instagram.
On my
as well.
Instagram bio, yes.
So hit up his Instagram bio if you're looking to go and see him at Cage Warriors. Like, he's not going to be long seeing him in a regional scene, so you might as well be catching him when he's fighting in your local area rather than waiting to pay 600 sheets to go and see him in the UFC.
Yes, sir.
Listen, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Keir.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.